Hello, everybody. It's me, Chris Bromley, and I'm here with my favorite 6'12" person, Sam Tate. Sam, you're coming off of a hot round of not casting. It was me. How was your lunch? How was your lunch, man?
It was delicious. We had some Raisin Canes. It was fantastic.
It was really yummy, actually.
I am refueled. I am ready to go, and we got a very interesting match coming up.
True.
Two characters that I think have made tons and tons of waves as far as competitive control decks go.
Sure.
And it's pretty rare, I feel, that in UniVersus we get a control versus control deck on stream. Like, you know, truly control, not just decks that are good at blocking, not just decks that are good at surviving, but decks that truly want to deny your game plan. They want to prevent you from playing the game. So it's going to come down to who can prevent the other person from preventing the other person from playing the game. So now we've got control inception for our next matchup.
Very different styles of control here, right? We got Andrew Porret playing Izuku Midoriya after winning back-to-back regionals earlier this year, right?
Yeah, he won the first two regionals and then said, I'm taking a vacation. I don't need to play anymore. I've done my job.
At that point, you just made Worlds, right? Day two, so you didn't need to anymore.
And look at the character history, right? Played Rodan, control character, void symbol. Played Ghidorah, evil symbol, maybe the actual best control symbol in UniVersus history.
Right.
And now Midoriya on my favorite symbol, the air symbol, which despite recent designs in the last few years, is historically a very powerful control symbol. So Midoriya kind of bringing back into the fold the way that the air symbol can deny the opponent their ability to play enhances with skipping the enhance step and denying things with Masho concealment to just straight up cancel abilities.
And speed control is another way to control the game too, right?
Exactly.
If you have enough cards to block with, damage doesn't matter, right, a lot of the time.
Maybe the most common way. One of the things that got me into UniVersus from other card games was in other card games you have to draw very specific ways to counter the opponent's cards and deny them. But in UniVersus,
if you have the right zones,
has a block. Every card cancels out the damage of an attack if you block with it.
And on the other side of the table, we got Justin Birch playing Mark Tyner, which is a classic evil control character, right?
Yes.
Justin,
evil control.
Justin is somebody who is not a stranger to top cuts or top tables. He played Smiling Titan last year. I think he played Smiling Titan as well, right? That was the second place against Kevin Broberg.
Yep. He was a smiler from the beginning.
He was a smiler from the beginning. Played Hanji Zoe twice in Louisville and in Toronto, and then is now playing Mark Tyner. Justin is somebody who can, it doesn't. I've never been able to tell exactly what he's going to be showing up with. I anticipate very aggressive decks, but Justin's just a good player who can play just about anything. And I know he loves the big moves.
Right. Going from Smiling and Hanji Zoe, you would kind of get the feel that he likes those slim, compact, 60-card decks that have weighted options. And what I mean by that is when I played Hanji Zoe, I felt like every card I played had immense impact. I wasn't drawing a ton of cards. I wasn't trying to play long strings. I wasn't even trying to build a huge stage. I would build my 3 cards, but those 3 cards would be things like 9 Titans Throughout the Ages, cards like Driven by Retribution, like these really powerful one-time activation cards. And so I think Mark Tyner fits sort of that same role, right? Where you're trying to get a few really key pieces out, but you're not a Mikasa who's drawing a million cards. You're not a repeated 100% style deck where you're readying half your stage so you can flood the card pool. And Midoriya, same idea, right? We've got the 4 Phantom threat, and everything else is supporting that Phantom
protection for the combo. Yeah, this is a control deck that is trying to one-turn you, right? We're building up to a point of,
inevitability.
Some decks try to do this with throws, right? But those are not combos. This is a true combo.
We're trying slow, grindy decks. This is a flashpoint, one-hit KO, knockout punch deck.
Yeah, and so Midoriya is a kind of a contentious character, I think. People don't like just, feeling like they didn't get to participate in the game, which can happen sometimes if you're playing a deck that relies on a single, point of interaction. But that's what this Midoriya deck does. It tries to mitigate your ability to play your enhances with its, character response. And And with the amount of interaction with the board that it can play, it's just a lot of pressure it can exert, and then it can feel like no matter how many resets or how many action interactions you have or whatever, that they just had too many. And we'll see if that's the way it goes, because on the other hand, this Mark Tyner deck is filled to the brim with resets, filled to the brim with interaction, right? Runaways, filled with doubts. We have
Dr. Ichigaki
Team
is a
Dr.
4-0.
4X. No, is it 4? Really?
Yes.
Wow, it's actually a Fetus Deletus, right? League of Villains. Okay, we've got multiple speed and damage resets, and multiple ways to interact with our opponent's board in response. So pretty key here is the game that we're going to play where we cancel each other's cancels, right? Somebody's going to declare an interaction, and somebody in response is going to go, well, actually, and then they'll go, well, actually, and then he'll go, oh, actually, and so that's what we're going to.
The winner will be the first one who says, actually.
True. Well, but that deck, I didn't get to say, the attack lineup is very, very different, right?
Yes.
It's very much going to be a churny sort of attacking pattern where we're not going to play, for one very big explosive turn, but, maybe get an Attack Titans Haymaker out and start looping those turn after turn, right? Maybe get Colossal Confrontation to get specific board pieces out, right? And so I could see it going a couple of different ways for Justin on Mark Tyner, but only one way for Andrew Porat, right? Well,
Right.
two. Either we get the combo off or we don't.
Right, and so similar to those decks that we talked about before, the Hanji Zoe, the Smiling Titan, they play those high difficulty, usually for control check attacks, and that seems to be Justin's style. He likes to kind of bide his time. Mark Tyner is not really the quickest character, and those 4-check attacks allow you to play really high difficulty, powerful
Foundations,
stage pieces. So we see things like more 3 difficulties than other decks, more 2 difficulties than other decks, and no real reliance on spam 0 difficulty foundations. So expect the quality of each card on Mark Tyner's stage to be higher quality.
Right.
But Midoriya can utilize even face down cards really effectively by committing them for -3 speed, or once we transform, every card in our stage, whether it's blank or not, becomes a powerful offensive threat, provided we actually get to utilize our phantom threat.
So one of the cool things about Mark Tyner specifically is the fact that you get to use some of these unique cards better than anybody else. You can have 2 female Titan attacks. Sorry, the female Titans in your board. You can have 2 copies of Seeking Relief in your board, right? You're allowed to have 2 attack Titans sitting in your stage and loop them turn after turn.
So if you have 2 Smiling Titans in your stage and you form with both of them, can you not attack?
It's only foundations? Am I stupid, Cardwell? He says yes. That's crazy. And correct.
He's double thumbs upping that.
I got
That's wild.
so excited.
Now him and Rebby are high-fiving.
Okay, well, let's
Wow.
look at Mark Tyner.
Yeah, no, so it's a common mistake. The ability to have multiple uniques in your stage is only applicable to foundations. I made this mistake in testing myself. I
It's the way I thought it worked.
I felt like a god. I had 2 airships out the first time I played.
Oh
the
my
character.
God, yeah,
well,
fair.
it's such a silly ability.
Yeah.
At its core, the ability to ignore the unique rule is a silly ability that changes the way the game is. But what makes it extra confusing is the response. You can commit 1 unique card, so you can commit the female Titan in your stage.
Those are
backups
allowed to give
to
+2.
minus or buff your check, which is why I believe we are still playing the shifts. But the ability to have duplicates is limited only to the foundations, which is why it's that much more insane that he has 4 Team Dr. Ichigaki in the deck.
Well, yeah,
right?
what I actually meant was that you could get 2 copies of Seeking Relief in your stage, okay? So don't get too excited, okay?
Still
You guys at
legit.
home, you just didn't understand what I was saying. When I talked about the Attack Titan attacks, I was talking about what some other people might think you could do, but not me, because I'm very smart and handsome. Anyway, here's another build turn.
We've got the Jaw Titan in the stage, so we've got the 1 shifted unique backup now, so we'll be able to check bonus with a backup, which I think is one of the actual strengths of Mark Tyner that not a lot of people talk about. Everyone's so focused on getting their own checks hacked, right? Getting your turn ended by check penalties, but being able to turn backups into +2 to a check is even stronger than Hanji Zoe's ability.
Yeah, we kind of have a natural growth of the types of these attacks that we can stand to play, right? On our first turn, we can play our 6, maybe 7 difficulty ones. On our second and third turns of attacking, we can start playing these 8, 9 difficulty attacks, just because we'll have more and more of these unique backups that can be used to pass checks, like we just saw there.
Yep.
Yeah, and Female Titan Attacks is one of these ones that I picked up during set 1 of Attack on Titan for like $2. And then now they're, $30, $40 right a piece. I felt very good about my buy there.
Stonks,
yeah, it felt good because it draws a card. It's like, it doesn't feel great, right, as a cantrip, but it does ready the backups, and then the other side of it can pick up, I think, Titan or kick attacks.
Puncher kick.
Puncher kick? Okay, straight up puncher kick.
Yeah,
No, the beast.
Display.
We can
You
just
can
put
just
the
display it,
we can
yeah.
just put it up there.
Read it on the
I was
screen.
trying to test my memory. It is just puncher kick, but this was pretty.
So,
You ahead.
What I was going to say is what's funny about this, so we saw the blitz to ready the backup, so basically a free 7 check pretty tight.
Yeah.
Replaces itself, so basically a free attack. This card is an absolute value machine, and maybe ironically or unironically, however you want to listen to Alanis Morissette, I used to love the female Titan in Midoriya. Because it adds Phantom Threat from the discard pile to your hand, and Midoriya loves to play these kind of generic value pokes, and you don't really care if it deals damage. It is a little expensive, so you typically would only see like one of it. I think Mitchell Chimino ran one of it when he had a top cut with Midoriya, but I've always really enjoyed things like your Meshi Perseverance and Female Titan and Midoriya, so it'll be interesting to see, Porat doesn't have access to that. How consistently can he find the Phantom Threat?
Wow, going to be attacking with another Jaw Titan attacks. Boy, that life gain going to be very relevant here. I think we used. Did we? I guess we drew the card and readied the backup, so we have not used Midoriya's response, and we're still on front side of Deku, I believe. Right? This. We're still on the move here. I don't think we flipped over to the other side onto Quirks Unleashed. Which one is it, Sam?
I don't know. I'm getting different answers from production. I'm blaming them.
Yeah, this is the alt art, right? That's the I think it's the front side because the opposite side has him in like angry tendril mode. But that means that we were able to.
Yeah, you can tell because his face isn't covered. Once he transforms, he covers his face.
He covers his face, yeah.
That is the difference, yeah.
I think you're right. But I think it's because we built so heavily last turn, we didn't want to also, or maybe we couldn't also commit 3 foundations on top of that.
Well, I think it's also one of those things where I don't know how powerful skipping 1 enhanced step against the Mark Tyner deck is, right? Because with these high difficulty attacks, because of the value of shifting, generally speaking, the blitz abilities on especially the original Attack on Titan shift attacks,
they're not super relevant.
Just not that strong. Readying the backup and drawing a card is really good, but at the end of the day, is that really what you want to spend your whole character ability on when you already are confident that you can block it with just -3 speed, And then Jaw Titan attacks is not a relevant blitz until later in the game. Attack Titan attacks is a very irrelevant blitz until later in the game, and the Smiling Titan attacks is maybe the most irrelevant of all these abilities. So the only thing I think you're really worried about skipping the enhanced step on is Colossal Confrontation, which I'm not the biggest believer in that card. I love that card, but there's so many ways to answer that anyways.
Yeah.
There's so many ways that we flash with Cheerleader, we seal it with Filled with Doubt. It's
not reliable in this specific case, yeah.
Now, we will need momentum to utilize the 2 cheerleaders that we have in our stage now. We have transformed, and you can't see Midoriya's face anymore.
Right.
But so maybe the discarding momentum as we see the Smiling Titan hit the board could come into play. But for an early game sort of threat, I don't think the blitz abilities on these cards is the issue. The issue is just that they're 2 cards in 1.
Yeah, I mean, as we start to get more and more of these unique backups on our board, right? it means that Mark Tyner's response is just always going to be live, and we won't have to commit anything like significant
Yeah.
to make the ability do its thing, right? Well, we're getting to the point where foundations don't really, particularly matter for that specific, sequence. But
Looks like we had a quick question to the judge. I'm really curious what it was. It was handled pretty quickly, but I'm always afraid, when I first started playing UniVersus,
Yeah.
whenever I would call a judge, I don't know why, but like there was something in the culture with all the judges at every event. I would come up, and before I even tell them what the issue is, they'd say, "Hi, do you have an issue? I can't coach." And it was always like the weirdest thing. Have you ever experienced that?
I can't
Like
coach.
a judge saying, "Hi, I can answer a question, but I can't coach."
Never.
No, I've never had that. I mean, I get why, judges can't like teach you how to play your deck or,
Yeah.
but apparently there used to be a really common thing where people would call a judge. They'd show the judge their hand and go, "Is it better to do this or this?" or something like that. And seeing Justin like show the hand to the judge just reminded me of that. But
Right.
yeah, it was very funny. Like every time, especially Shane Duckworth used to judge, a lot of the PTCs back in the day. And I would always be like, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" He's like, "Yeah, but I can't coach you." And it was, I don't know. I've only experienced that in UniVersus.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
Shane was really fun to watch judging.
Yeah.
Um,
The way he would pick up the card, like by the very,
Yes,
very
yeah.
corner of it.
Yeah. My favorite judge is Tim Friedlieb,
Okay.
because Tim Friedlieb can like recite the rule book, but Ryan Pham, one of the funniest moments I've ever seen a judge was I think it was 2019 Worlds. I wasn't around, and I was playing something. I think I was playing Gil at this time.
Ooh, you would be.
It was before.
You would.
It was before that point. Before we had all of the Jetta
I was
stuff.
gonna say, if it makes you feel
Yeah,
better,
before Yu
I never
Hakusho.
thought Gil was a big deal.
I
I thought
like
everyone was a baby.
It was a fun. I was playing the TK Mastery and a bunch of 6 checks.
That sounds cool.
It was fun.
For those at home, Tiki Mastery is not like TIKI Mastery.
Telekinetic Mastery. Yeah.
Yeah, when you
But-
said that, I thought of like Tiki
Well-
Idols, and I
Well,
was like, that's a cool card.
I was playing against this guy, and his friend was behind me, like double checking things I was
Yes.
doing with like manji ninjutsus and things like that.
Yes.
And I called the judge, and it's the only time I've seen Ryan Pham like angry.
Yeah.
He was like, "You need to step back, man."
Yeah.
I think he was like, he was answering the not manji. It's the mechanical ninja.
The OG
Yeah,
mechanical.
original
ninja.
mechanical ninja that when you block with it, it comes down.
Yeah.
And his friend was like, "That's not how this works." And Ryan Pham was like, "Hey, man, step back."
Yeah.
And he did this in like a deeper voice, and Ryan Pham did not have a deep voice.
No.
Right? It was very funny to hear the judge voice come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like any judge that is willing to just be authoritative.
Yeah,
I really,
you have to be sometimes.
Yeah, I really, I do it too because I'm not a good judge. I'm not a great judge. I try to be on top of the rules as best I can, but like the conflict resolution skills, I'm not the best at it.
Soft skills are like really hard to teach, right?
Yes.
And so for judges in general, that's most of your job is to
It's not really knowing the rules.
yeah,
it's conflict resolution.
it's to facilitate gameplay, right?
Yes.
And make sure everything, that if there
Just make
was a
sure we're all
mistake,
playing the same game.
yeah. And so that's the thing is that it's really tough to get somebody who cares a lot about the rules,
Yeah.
who is also not going to be a huge jerk about it too.
Wait,
What?
we've got a. Oh, he's blocking with it. Never mind. Sorry, I thought we had an attack
Blocking with the
with
Phantom Threat?
Yeah, you got to block Colossal Confrontation, man. That's
I mean, I'm looking at the board. What exactly can't we play through here with a board this big? I guess you
We
might not
can't-
have answers for actions in hand.
I was gonna say, so it's open deck list, so he knows
Yeah.
Justin has 4 filled without,
Yeah,
and he can't play through a filled without.
yeah, and there's a not now I'm gaming on board.
If we had one momentum, we could play through a filled without theoretically.
Theoretically,
Because you could cheerleader to flash the Phantom Threat. No, because it's sealed. It doesn't get flashed.
it is just
You know what's funny is Midoriya doesn't give attacks flash. A lot of people, we use the flash moniker, the
Yeah.
flash nomenclature, but Midoriya just says skip the enhanced step.
yes.
So if he didn't reduce speed, of course, obviously, if you didn't reduce, you could like skip your own
Yeah,
enhanced
you
step.
could do that. Yeah,
So like if your opponent has no cards in hand, they need like a damage reduction ability, like Invincible Body.
right.
Maybe you skip your own enhanced step and send a 0 mid for 30 to win.
That's
we
how
could
this one's
see
ending
that.
for sure, Sam.
I mean, I don't think that's that would be
It's going to
cool.
come down to the invincible body, right?
One of my favorite things about casting is just speculating on like what's the most unique way a game could end, and we get them sometimes. We do get some really unique ones, but Speaking of unique ones, double King of Illyria here means you really don't want to enter the enhanced step and get your stuff bounced back.
Yeah.
Especially since substitute member is really good against these high printed speed moves. One of the things I love about substitute members for a long time now, for a couple of years, we've been relying on reset speed to printed. But ever since the Titan attacks that have printed 7+ speed,
They're less
those
good,
cards,
yeah.
yeah, those cards haven't been as good. So substitute member, you know, kind of a callback to encouraging training partner,
Which
if
was a
you're all done.
callback to the Red Horizon set to 4.
Oh, Solomon's teachings.
Solomon's teachings.
Yeah, set to 3.
No, that's set to 4. It's set to 4.
It's a 2/4.
Is it 2-4? Well,
It's a 2
it committed.
difficulty 4
It
and
committed to
commits
set to 3. Encouraging trainer partner flipped set to 4.
4,
So
yeah.
functionally the same. Yeah.
Yeah, and substitute members
Yeah.
now flipped to 3, so it's like they had a baby.
Yeah, they had it. Yeah, definitely one of the
And I don't think any of those cards share any symbols across all 3 of them.
not even the best genus card that does a similar thing where it resets it to a speed in the
your
card
rivals,
pool.
Yeah. Well, that one has good, right?
That's
Best
good. Yeah, it's
genes?
good. Yeah, it does have good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that one requires your rival to have an attack in the card pool. And
I
speaking
think
of,
we're blocking with another attack.
yeah, this is block the attack Titan attack. So damage being dealt, half damage here.
I just wonder what we're worried about block. I mean, because I think that the way you okay, so Goblin Bolt can cancel enhance
and any
ability.
blitz.
Yeah. So you could use this on defense, right? But like I think that some of the best lines that Midoriya has are like opening with 2 Goblin Bolts into a Phantom threat, and so getting rid of any of these has got to feel bad.
Yeah, but if you look at Justin's board, you know, the goal, the end goal of Phantom Threat is to be a flash attack.
Right.
Right? If it is a flash attack, none of these cards in the stage matter.
Sure.
And so the thing that he has to effectively solve here is Team Dr. Ishigaki, which Goblin Bolt doesn't interact with, and Filled with Doubt from the hand, which Aerial Goblin Bolt doesn't interact with. So
Right.
until we get, I guess it's Stopping for Breakfast, is the air symbol way to cancel action.
Which we checked on turn 1. There's only one on the board in the main board.
Yeah, or Tattered Costume, if that was on the deck list. I know we took a look, but I don't have it directly in front
I
of me.
think Tattered Costume is in the deck. Yeah, at a 1x.
So those are the cards we're really looking for now, because knowing that Justin Birch has 4 Filled with Doubt in the deck, and you know, looking through the discard pile and not seeing, you know, 4 copies of it, and especially how small the deck is here, you'd have to assume he's clutching multiples of them. And so you're going to have to beat multiple Filled with Doubt to be able to effectively end the game with the 1-hit KO.
Yeah, the big I guess problem with the air symbol is that it has a lot less answers for action responses.
I mean, it's got 2 good ones.
It has good ones, right?
It has better ones than a lot of symbols, I think.
Good, it just has Koenmas though, right? Which is blanket that's gone, right?
But that's a hand trap, which has a lot of value in the format.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I will say Tattered Costume is great because it draws a card
Mm-hmm.
and it cancels other things, not just actions. Stopping for Breakfast is one of the weaker ones because it's a 3-diff, remove, and it doesn't do anything else, which is why you pretty much only ever see it as a 1-of.
Right.
I don't think I've ever seen decks play more than 1 Stopping for Breakfast. I've seen a couple decks play 2 Tattered Costume, but as a unique that's also pretty narrow in scope, you don't see too many multiple copies.
There's always the question of like how many answers for answers do you need to be mainboarding, right?
Right, because your deck still has to have a game plan that you do on its own.
Yeah, against people who aren't, prepared for what you're doing, right? How many resets can somebody play? Oh, right, I've missed the damage. My bad. We're at 19. But yeah, with no momentum on board, there's no way to, fuel these cheerleaders.
And yeah, with the primary defense being sealing things, cheerleader is not the best answer in the world. We also have Not Now I'm Gaming.
Right.
Which is actually an answer to Midoriya committing his entire stage. So
I remember you were talking about it's this critical role card that lets you seal opponent cards on the beginning of the turn.
it's a death card.
Is it death?
Tranquility.
Is it tranquility?
Something of tranquility. Yeah, you both pick a card in each
Yeah.
other's stage. It's a 1/4.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on the name of it, but it's something of tranquility, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, then not a card that we were talking about for Midoriya then.
No, I don't think it was for Midoriya.
Boy, howdy. Okay, so we played a fast hybrid Chimera Kraken. We commit and sealed something. Okay, there it is. Condescending explanation.
Yeah, as far as sealing goes, you're pretty much looking at Aerial Goblin Bolt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Goblin will
Yeah.
seal something. Freezing. The condescending explanation.
Commits the Ichigaki. All right. Now all we have to do is beat the Not Now I'm Gaming. And enter the and get enough responses on Phantom Threat that it is a flash attack.
Right.
Which we can form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and we're not doing that, so the game is going to continue.
But the freeze does last a full turn cycle, right?
Right. I don't know if Condescending is the card I'd want to freeze here.
Yeah, because
I think Not Now I'm Gaming is much better into the Phantom Threat
right,
idea,
that one's response speed.
But Antroport's a back-to-back regional champion, and I'm not, so...
Yeah, well, I think at this point in the game, you start thinking about like just forcing your opponent to press buttons, and so even if you're not doing it on a Phantom Threat, you just form for like +12/+12 or something, and
yeah. Oh, so yeah, at some point, make him remove these cards. A lot of these cards are removed for cost.
Yes.
So not only are you going to make him have to draw another one, which granted, Mark Tyner plays more uniques.
Sure, than most people do. Yeah.
Most decks, if I beat, if you use your condescending explanation, I don't have to deal with it again. But
yeah,
that's not always the case with Mark Tyner. But as the decks get thinner here, the more cards you make the rival remove from their stage, even if they have a sacrifice outlet like Warped Pleasure, which is something that can, let both players sacrifice cards back into their discard pile so that they can cycle more times. If you make them remove things for cost, the closer you're going to be to winning via mill, which I would be really curious to see. I don't think we've been activating that on Justin's side. Once per turn.
I think it's just we've developed the board state so far that we're just not doing the debuild thing.
So Porat would be sacrificing face downs.
Yeah.
And Justin would be sacrificing face up cards.
Yeah.
And every card in Justin's stage except Warp Pleasure and Imprisoned is something that theoretically answers a one-shot move.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I would wonder if you're going to be using the King of Illyrias just to prevent your opponent from being able to dig, right? Or get to the cycle sooner, right? Give yourself some time. 2 imprisoned.
At some point...
That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. At some point, the correct mode of play is going to be to add King of Illyria to your hand so you don't draw during your draw step. And then you build King of Illyria, so you only check one card. Because think about it. If you normally play one and pass, right?
Yeah.
You play one, you check one, and then you draw one.
Yeah.
So that's 2 cards out of your deck, the check and the draw on your next turn.
Right.
If you King of Illyria to go back to 6 cards,
then you're not drawing.
Then you're not drawing one, and you get this is the ridiculous game that we're at is and this is normal for draw 1 per turn games,
Right.
I've seen decks in other games where you draw 1 per turn where the entire goal is to mill your opponent 1 time and then make sure nothing happens for the rest of the game, and then you are 1 card ahead and you will win 1 turn ahead of them. I'm not saying those are fun games. I don't play those games, but I've seen it. And that similar idea can come into play here. So at some point, the King of Illyria could be the goal to not milling before the rival.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that's what Justin's gonna be going for?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I have a bird's eye view of this game, and I have no stress or anxiety or emotional investment. Because what I'm doing is I'm looking. So this is the difference in commentary.
Yeah.
People sit at home and they like to critique, as we all do. But I think what people don't understand is when you are sitting here watching the gameplay like this, you can look at the stage and you find something to focus on.
Yeah.
Whereas when you are playing the game,
you look at the whole
can't focus
thing.
on one thing.
Yeah.
You have cards in hand that you have information for, and you're thinking about how does this interact with this and this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
I'm here sitting going, okay, how do I stop myself from checking cards? I get to look through the stage and focus on one interaction, whereas Justin has to worry about things Andrew's going to do, things Andrew's going to stop him from doing, and it's much, much harder to kind of find those niche interactions when you've never in your life probably had to make the play where you play one pass, then add a card back to your hand for the sole purpose of not drawing a card.
Right.
I've never done that in my entire time of playing UniVersus. I've never done that.
Yeah.
So I have drawn above my hand size so that I won't review or draw,
Sure.
and then play one pass and kept drawing cards and
Sure.
staying ahead of my hand size. But I've never done it specifically to prevent from drawing to mill.
Yeah,
cycle, I should say.
even in games where I play at a deck that has the capacity for the quote unquote plan B for the mill.
Yes.
Most of the time I am trying to lull my opponent into a sense of security.
Correct. Yeah.
So that I can just backswing them, right? Where they're like, I can just play my whole hand here. We've developed to this board state, and then you kind of lazily backhand them after their turn. So I think very few times have I actually milled somebody out.
Yeah.
Because it takes so long, right?
Well, and usually you get to the point where you can tell who's going to mill out, and that person makes a desperate attempt to
and
win
then
the game.
and then you just kill them.
Decided because they're defenseless now. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. They see there's an eventuality, and they say, okay, well, yeah, here I have to try for it. Yeah, I have milled myself out once against Keenan Meadows.
I've definitely milled myself out quite a few times.
Yeah.
Maybe not in competitive.
Yeah.
But I've definitely played a lot of games where I just drew too many cards.
Oh no,
Drawing cards is fun.
I had been cultivating a hand into Kuwabara, and my deck was relying on Ailerophobia to kill.
Wait, who are you playing against?
I was playing against Keenan.
Oh, Keenan. I thought.
Yeah,
okay.
Keenan. Yeah, Keenan Meadows.
I
And
thought you said Tim Keefe at first. For
no,
some reason.
not Tim Keefe. Tim Keefe never touched that character.
I was like,
there's
when you said
no
Kuwabara,
way.
I was like, there's no way.
No,
it's
it's Keenan. Keenan. And I looked at my 7 attacks in hand, and I was like, I can do 15 damage to this 22 health Kuwabara, and so I just milled myself using my profane sanctuaries or something. Anyway,
I've never lost a game to Kuwabara.
You haven't played enough games into it.
True, I hate that character. I've only played it. I think I've only ever played against one person playing it actually. So, and I've always gotten insanely lucky in that matchup. So,
fair.
While I absolutely detest playing against the character, and it's capable of some of the most disgusting things, especially pre-errata, I have always been incredibly fortunate that my games are very one-sided in my favor. So,
well, so my funniest thing was leading up to that event. My friend Goose asked me, what do I do into Kuwabara with my deck? And I said, I don't know, man, draw? Because there's no way you could kill me, right? It wasn't happening.
Was he playing a multiple strategies? Like a
The
multiple...
Kuwabara? No, my deck was just, it killed with Ailerophobia, which is a 2 damage base move, right?
And he was playing Kuwabara.
He was playing Kuwabara, yeah. And so Goose, so I said in rounds, right, I just
take an early lunge.
Yeah. We're going to draw. You're never going to kill me, right? And it was true. Keenan couldn't kill me. I was at 20 health the whole time.
Right.
But and I was like, I guess I can sideboard Hellgate Executioners was my answer. And
I like that card, but that is not a good
It's not. No, I did in our second game, I windmill slammed 2 of them into I think it was an 18 damage throw or something like that. And Keenan was like, okay, man, I'll reset it. And he took 18 damage. Because it was 6/6 and then the 6 damage from the throw itself.
Yeah. Man, Hellgate Execute. They should. That's a card that you could reprint and it wouldn't be very good, but somebody would love it.
It's a good card, man.
It's not a good card.
It's a good card. It has
very okay.
It was niche. It was but there's a lot of things in that are just response speed, right? I think response hate in general is pretty cool.
The one caveat that makes it playable is that it does punish character abilities, which that's
well, without that's the thing I like about the card is that it doesn't say you can't play that response.
Right.
It says, hey. And I think those are some of the cooler interactions in the game. It's when we get to when we get to say, "Hey, you get your thing, but," or and this happens, and those are the more fun conversational.
Too, yes.
They definitely feel worse than just, "Hey, you can't draw."
Yeah.
Oh no, you're not doing that.
Yeah.
Oh no, actually your enhance doesn't work. But hey, you did that. That's fine. But also, you had to think hard about it.
Yeah.
I like those. I would prefer more of those sorts of things, but
I definitely enjoy punishment effects rather than strict cancels.
Yeah.
And I also like the you get something, I get something effects.
Yes.
Because that really gives you, instead of just making the game who draws the outs, a lot of times it's okay, well, we get to a board state where I'm gonna cancel this and then you cancel, or even if it's not cancel, freeze, commit, whatever. I'm gonna answer that, then you're gonna answer this, and it's you can you know, if you play chess a lot, right, you can just kind of go, well, I have checkmate in 4 moves, and we
Yeah.
both know it because I can force you to make the only play available.
Right.
And those games are cool and satisfying every now and then.
Sure.
But the most enjoyable ones are the ones where your opponent goes, I want to draw a card, but if I Botons,
You'll
draw a card.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's worth it.
Yeah.
And then you get so much information from your opponent even thinking about it. Like if your opponent is going, should I Botons? You go, oh, they need another attack. That's information. And the game becomes more dynamic. And I think that's really cool.
I agree. I think it's more fun, right?
It's more
not
interesting.
not necessarily, you know, like a more competitive or whatever, right?
Right. No, they're
and-
almost strictly less competitive. And that's probably why they're more fun.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, where it becomes kind of like a will you do this? Will I do that? And it can be fun to have a cancel war. Okay.
I enjoy them.
Yeah, I think
it's a once in a while.
Yeah. It shouldn't be every single game for sure, but yeah, in this situation specifically, right? Like having to play through this many puzzle pieces on the board can be exciting, right? To look at. Unfortunately, it's like it can also be kind of, you know, demoralizing, right? If you're sitting on one copy of Mutant Machine, right, into Moment of Normalcy, Midoriya response. What, the build pass? We're just build passing now, yeah.
He put it in the discard pile, though.
Because he already has two.
Oh, no, it's the
Yeetus Deletus.
but it's an asset. He can't have two.
He cannot have two, yeah.
He already has a Yeetus Deletus, and he built a Yeetus Deletus, and then just went straight to the discard pile.
Oh, we're doing deck counts now? Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
We're counting the cards left in deck with 30 minutes left in the round.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, so the thing is, based on this board state, right, Andrew, I don't think, has enough things to be able to chew through this board, right, easily, right? You're going to need multiple layers of interaction. And then Justin doesn't have enough stat manipulation to get through the amount of foundations on the board. So when your opponent has 20 foundations...
Tell me if I'm being mean.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be mean. This has nothing to do with... There's nothing personal. There's nothing to do with the player. But...
You're a bully.
The Mark Tyner deck, it's doing nothing, right? Like, the Midoriya deck's also not really doing anything. But the Midoriya deck has, like, played attacks to try and get momentum and utilize the abilities on the attack. But the Mark Tyner deck is actually at the build pass because my deck does nothing stage.
I disagree, man.
Yeah?
I mean, over the course of this game, Justin has been more proactive with attacks. There's evidence on the board, right?
Is he playing attacks or is he building backups?
They're attacks, man. They accrue value. Just because they didn't all connect, right? We've actually done damage to the Midoriya.
That's why I was asking. I wasn't sure because I felt like being the Vast Hybrid deck and the Fajin Flurry has been more proactive than just
so I think the only reason I disagree with you is because Midoriya's attacks do not do anything unless you're dying this turn. So because it's a combo,
give us the momentum for Cheerleader. The Vast Hybrid theoretically could set us up for the next.
But it's all setting up for the combo, right?
That's true.
There's no like progressive
but what is Mark
board.
Tyner setting up for? He's setting up for nothing.
He's setting up for.
He's literally not even adding to his stage.
Yeah, he's literally adding to the stage.
No, he played a card that went directly to the discard pile and then ended.
Well, the attacks do go to the stage though,
because they're backups. He's just playing backups the long way. He's playing the long version.
The original way.
He's playing
the base
backups the long way.
I don't know, man. I think I like it that way.
I see the Mark Tyner deck. It's got all these cool cards in its stage, but like, have we ever activated any of them? We activated one Invincible Body.
So
We've been sitting on Ichigai. The Illyrias, the King of Illyrias, aren't even being used to slow down the milling process. Like, there's things
because you would also be slowing down your opponents, right?
I guess, sure. But your opponent might not be on the same wavelength as you of, like, I'm not going to draw a card.
Well, okay, I'm just saying I saw Andrew Pored on Ghidorah sit there and draw pass at a regional and win because of it. So, maybe it's time for him to taste his own medicine.
That's fair, But I just, I'm wondering what are either of these decks actually going to do at this point?
I think that
I do think the only way either of these decks actually wins is if There is a flash attack that resolves that negates 99% of all of this interaction.
Well, so
and the only deck that can do that is the Midoriya
actual
deck.
problem I have with this board state is that Justin stopped building foundations. Just stopped building foundations at some point, which means he's never going to be able to chain enough of the giant attacks to get through this board, right? None of these moves, right? None of these foundations, at least, are actually modifying damage, which means that if you get through the hand, right, and Andrew is building, right, very aggressively every turn, so you could attack the hand size if you had enough attacks, right? But the problem is, hang on, the problem is that if he wants to win with damage, you need to build a bigger board. And because we're saying, hey, I don't want to do that, I just want to, force you to have an answer for me, then you can't. You're no longer able to do that thing. So we've kind of pigeonholed ourselves into this situation where, okay, although we always have an answer for our one massive mutant machine, right, we've never built to the point where we could take advantage of, our opponent's huge board, right? And the natural weaknesses of a deck like Midoriya's. And so my issue with decks that play the 4 checks is that if you get to the point, and we take a partial.
We're still taking damage.
Yeah.
I will say the Mark Tyner deck is theoretically, and then we ended the turn. We are theoretically progressing our win condition more than the Midoriya deck. But the Midoriya deck is building multiple cards. It's trying to find its win condition. It's digging deeper. Whereas the Mark Tyner deck is like playing a card that should go into our stage, and then it does not.
Yeah, I think the attack Titan at least should be being played every single turn. There's no reason because you're also attacking hand size there, which is another case for getting a card out of your opponent's hand and deck, right?
And that goes back to my whole idea of if you have 6 cards in hand and then you play a card from your stage, and then you pass your turn, you don't draw. So you might theoretically win via mill that way, even if the Midoriya deck is bigger than yours. And we're not recognizing that.
So this is a world championship, right? And B, we just checked deck sizes, and Andrew Porrat's deck is much smaller than Justin's at this point.
At this point, yeah, because it's all
there's so much on the board, right?
Yeah.
And so
also,
it's not incorrect.
Is the female Titan attacks, is that a punch attack itself?
No, it's just Titan.
It's just
Shift Titan. It cannot pick up itself.
So there's no target for the female Titan in the stage in this deck?
I think it can pick up Colossal Confrontation.
Is it a punch?
Nope.
No, it's just Titan.
Attack Titan attacks?
It's a Fury.
Jaw Titan attacks?
That one's just Titan.
Smiling Titan attacks?
I mean Titan Shift, I
Okay,
guess.
no, there's 0 targets.
Put up the female Titan attacks. Yeah, Shift Titan. Okay,
there's 0 targets for
There's no targets for that, because that's another avenue where we could not theoretically lose cards by drawing.
So this is why when I've played my 4-check decks, right, I had very specific 4-check attacks I wanted to play.
Right.
That were usually throws, right? Or I can make them throw, right?
The Colossus Titan is one of the best. How is that not in this deck, dude?
But the problem is that if your opponent can deal with your 7 to 12 speed moves, right? Which, seems really crazy, right? If there's multiple in a turn, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's like the Smiling Titan thing. If you got to the point where you could deal with 2 of those a turn, they kind of just flail around. And here we see we're playing we tried to attempt the Colossal Confrontation, and it immediately got swatted out of the air by Midoriya, right? So...
Hey, we built a card. Let's go.
Well, but again, we're continuing to eke damage through, right? Just by poking.
What card is that got committed?
What do you mean?
The card that Imprisoned just committed. It's a cheerleader.
It looks like a cheerleader.
Something under the cheerleader. I couldn't quite
see. I
want to say it's
Special
the
Forces Elite.
Yeah, the deadlock.
Yeah, because Special Forces Elite can cancel a responsibility, which is pretty good.
Which, if we wanted to keep the cheerleader, I guess we could have canceled the Imprisoned. If you canceled the first one.
But you'd have to remove the Special Forces Elite.
Right, which we're trying to utilize for canceling an action.
Okay,
I'm sure.
Time for the 9th time that we check graveyard numbers. Second Special Forces Elite.
Not unique.
Not unique. Why doesn't anybody use the old Jackie Briggs art?
They probably just don't own it.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I imagine Andrew Porrat didn't play UniVersus in 2018.
Yeah, but I can't imagine they're very expensive.
Yeah, but you'd have to intentionally go out of your way when he probably pulled these from Critical Role boxes he got from winning Critical Role regionals.
Sam, That was all I had. I had no follow-up.
Just like this Mark Tyner deck. Hey!
I'm going to high-five you begrudgingly. It's so crazy to accuse the deck that is actually playing attacks every turn of doing nothing. When the Midoriya deck has not dealt a point of damage. It has dealt 0 damage.
Playing more attacks earlier and was accruing resources and did not.
What resources? What resources? What resources?
He played Fajin Flurry. Also,
and got one momentum.
How do we have a Vast Hybrid in momentum?
I don't know.
If we didn't
I don't know.
Damage?
I was having too much fun yelling at you.
How did we get a Vast Hybrid in momentum if we didn't deal damage? It's face up, isn't it? How did it get there?
I wonder how many viewers have gone to lunch.
Smart ones. Smart ones, dude.
Wowzer. Well, 20 minutes left. This one is most assuredly going to go to time, right? Whoever wins this first game, whether it be by mill.
I mean, if the Midoriya ever draws cards that allow him to Phantom Threat, I mean, he wins.
And this is why people
also
should run.
The Midoriya deck has been getting chipped away, 5 damage on partial blocks at a time. Andrew Porra is deciding to partial block attacks to get things like Goblin Bolt into the card pool to keep him alive rather than completely blocking.
Or holding
but I also
those
think
for...
we have 3 Mikasa defeats the female Titan waiting to be utilized when absolutely necessary.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, so. All right, so we're going to start pressing buttons. Using it twice. Our defiant stances, that is.
This is it.
No, we just used it twice.
Send him your energy.
No, I think we're just going to send one move. That's
twice?
one fast move. Yeah, just twice.
Well,
which is what I think you should have been doing the whole time.
It's relatively not fast in this board state. So at this point, Justin has 2 moment of normalcy.
I don't know, man. 2 moment of normalcies for sure, right? But the board itself is not that large, right? We have to commit the imprisoned and the colossal, the Seeking Relief, right?
But we have 2 moment of normalcies. We have a
City Escape.
The playable wall committed, which you can check.
Citywide Crisis.
Citywide Crisis as a reset. We also have Not Now I'm Gaming.
I love Not Now.
Make you replay the move so it loses all the stats that you just gave it.
A beautiful card for beautiful gamers.
If we enter the enhanced step, there's still Invincible Body and Condescending. And those are just the things that basically blank out the attack. Not to mention Yeetus Deletus, which I believe can give up to -5 damage.
Yeetus Deletus? No.
Oh, no, it stuffs the card pool. I'm thinking of the other one. I'm thinking of Return to Ordinary, Back to Ordinary.
I don't know.
Once again, Ordinary. The Jacob Johnson asset. You know that one.
Not personally. Seems like a nice guy, though.
Fair. Fair.
Well, here's the fill without. So we attempted the Phantom Threat, right? We resolved it. It entered the card pool, but it got sealed. So we're going to have an enhanced step. Unless, and so here's the thing, is,
so can Justin cancel a response?
He can cancel one with Tattered Costume.
Well, can Justin cancel a response?
Oh, Justin. We'll see. He might just have another one. I think he's just got another one.
I think he's just going to play a second Filled with Doubt, too, but... It looks like we did not.
Oh, wow.
So your first enhance would be to Powerful and get the 5th bonus here. Because I think we did a couple extra forms. We responded for speed and drew a card.
Yeah.
But this is only for 18 damage, and we have Runaway. Runaway is in the deck. Well, that's the first life loss, at least.
Yeah, well, still hasn't dealt damage, though.
True, still has not dealt damage. I'm going to have to watch this whole game again to figure out how the Vast Hybrid ended up in momentum face up.
I do not remember why it got sent there.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what abilities Midoriya has that adds cards to momentum, like from discard. Because Fajin's from top of deck, it'd be face down, right?
Yes.
And I don't think the Mark Tyner... Oh, maybe if Porat was failing checks and Mark Tyner was healing off of it. That's the only thing I can think of, is that he actually did deal damage and then healed it off.
Oh, healed it with Jaw Titan, I guess?
No. Mark Tyner heals himself. No one remembers this ability, but if your rival fails a check, Mark Tyner heals one.
I don't believe you.
All right, well, production's on your side. They
There's
won't put the card
no
on
there's
screen.
no way to put this card on screen for me to verify either.
Yeah, everyone forgets the bottom text because all the rest of it is so disgusting.
I don't know what checks we would fail though.
Yeah, that's the other thing is I don't think we would have failed to check. We've blocked everything.
I'm trying to think of any card in this deck that. No.
It would have had to been like turn 2 or 3. You know what I mean? Like it would have been like an early build turn or something where you just didn't want to commit.
I don't know.
Hey Barrett, can you run to the start?
I'm having the time of my life. Hey Barrett, come here.
Thank you.
No. Oh right, sorry. It's okay. Barrett's eating his chicken, his chickie, his little chickie.
He just came over to taunt us.
Yeah, we deserved it. To be fair.
He just came over to make fun of us because we're 45 minutes into this game, and 10 minutes ago I thought we were actually going to have a winner once a Phantom Threat got
What was
played.
your favorite movie get released last year?
Oh, I'm the worst person to ask, brother. I
Okay.
don't think I've watched a movie.
What's the favorite movie you watched last year? That wasn't the Mads Mikkelsen movie you were making fun of earlier.
Well, that was like 10 years ago.
Oh.
Do you know the last time I watched a movie, actually? I can
No,
tell
that's
you.
why I'm asking you.
It was when we were in your Discord watching the Dragon Ball Z Broly movie.
Hell yeah.
That's the last time I watched a movie.
That movie was sick.
Yeah, that was like 5 years ago.
It was during the pandemic.
Yeah, that
You
was
just
the
don't watch movies, Sam?
No, I don't watch movies.
Okay.
I
All right. Video game? What's the last video game you played?
I only play like competitive games. So the last game I played was Warcraft 3.
Okay.
I'm like back on the after like 20 years of being bad at the game. I finally like watched a streamer.
You've unlocked
like-
your
and, like,
hidden power.
I did like one tutorial. You know what I mean? Like I watched like one like how to play video, and
Yeah.
it's like it clicked.
So like actually Warcraft 3 or custom games?
No, like actual Warcraft 3. Yeah, the RTS. I played custom games. When I was a kid.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I always would try the RTS, and it's like impossible. If you think
Very difficult.
name the hardest game you can think of, right?
StarCraft 2.
Okay, well, I guess non-RTS because it's the same idea, right? but like I'm a fighting game guy, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
everyone likes to go, oh, fighting
the
games
micro,
are so
yeah.
hard to get
Yeah.
into. And I'm like, my brother in Christ, you play League of Legends 9 hours a day. There's 127 champions. They all have 6 abilities. Most abilities have 2 modes now because when you click the button the first time,
Yeah,
it
it
becomes a
activates
second
a new
ability
thing,
for some
yeah.
reason. You got guys.
Oh.
We got another fam threat. Hold on. Wow, how is this one game? Oh, never mind. Filled with that. All right.
All right, so anyway, continue.
So in League of Legends, right? You have guys whose death report is 1.2 seconds. You can get murderized in 1 second, and you're telling me that game is easier than fighting games.
I think okay, so
literally, I can blink and die in League of Legends and not know what happened to me.
I know that we're memeing here, right? But it's in both games. A lot of times it's like a knowledge check, right?
Correct, yeah.
That the problem is because there's not that many inputs in League of Legends, right? Whereas in like 2xKO, there's a ton of different inputs, right?
There's more inputs in League of Legends. Your APM is higher in League of Legends than any fighting game.
It's not about APM. It's inputs options, right? Most characters in like 2xKO.
League has what, 4 buttons, 5 buttons?
You go 6 buttons, right?
Yeah, with the summoners.
Yeah.
2xKO is a 4-button fighting game.
Well, but you have combinations that can make those things do something different, right? So if you're talking about, I'm just saying,
I get where you're coming
most
from.
of the
They're-
difficulty in both of those games are understanding matchups, right? What are the characters being played? 2xKO has the benefit of being a 1 versus 1 thing, right?
No, technically it's a
Well,
2v2.
well,
but
but
yeah.
2 players aren't playing at the same
Yeah.
time, right? You're one
No,
guy.
it's the only fighting
Really?
game where 2 players play at the same time.
Oh,
actually,
okay. Well,
yeah.
I'm an idiot. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's actually the
Okay.
coolest thing about the game is you and your
could-
friend can play together, which
Ah.
is why I was hoping it'd be successful, even though I don't really gel with 2xKO.
Sure.
But I was hopeful for the game
And you could play with a
because
friend.
It was revolutionizing certain aspects of fighting games. The problem is that 2xKO, they took literally everything from every fighting game and put it in one game. And so when I play the game, I have no idea what's happening no matter how much I play because there's so many things.
It's also a really terrible name.
And it's also a terrible name.
Yeah.
But I feel the same way as someone who played Dota in 2004 and then played League of Legends from 2009 or 2010, I think it was like right after beta, till like 2015 and has been on and off with it. I jumped back into League last year and went, this is the hardest game I've ever played in my life after having, years of legacy skill because so much has changed and there's so much knowledge that you were
Sure.
talking about. So the big difference is I think both games are hard. And this is, we deal with this with UniVersus.
Another runaway?
Yeah. Big Phantom or big Vast Hybrid into Runaway. So we run into this with UniVersus where everyone says UniVersus is hard, but I think trying to learn Flesh and Blood was way harder for me than learning UniVersus.
Yeah.
The game makes less sense to me in general, even though there's way less actions you take overall at the time I was playing. And the idea of like the math is easier and stuff, but the game rules made less sense to me, The thing that's really confusing for people with UniVersus where you can interrupt abilities, that makes sense to me.
Sure.
I've always thought it's weird that you can't do that in other games. So, it's something where I enjoy all these difficult genres, and yet I think shooters are the hardest game to play in the world. I think Marvel Rivals is one of the most like hard to understand games of what is happening and learning by playing in the world, dude.
That's so funny.
It's my life.
My girlfriend is like Celestial in Marvel Rivals, and I try to play with her. And she's so good at this game. She's so good at it. And when I play with her, right, I'm not good at aiming, right? And I also don't make good decisions.
Right.
Because I'm just like, I get to play as Rogue and punch Magneto in the face.
I like to play Magneto too, because I can just put up a giant wall and stand there, and then I'm useful.
But she's like, hey, you need to like ebb and flow, right?
Yeah.
You got to take space and give space and work around your cooldowns,
and not just be a wall.
And so she gets not frustrated. She's so kind to me.
It's okay.
Honestly.
You can say she beats you up.
No, she does not. She does not. She does not. No, she really does not.
You can.
She's
This
so
is group
sweet to me.
therapy. We can talk about. We can help you overcome.
No, she's so good at the game, and it's so funny because my like inclinations for playing the games is very different from like a person who's good at shooters, right? So she played, Overwatch before that,
right?
And
that's like my experience. The last time I played Rivals,
so the skill set's different, right?
Yeah, the last time I played Rivals, I played Magneto, and I was stoked because I took 2,000 damage. I like took more damage than other people, and I'm like, that's my role, tank or whatever. And my friend, she was playing, I think Scarlet Witch or something.
Yeah.
And she was like 31-1. She had like 30 kills, like 1 death, completely like totally destroyed the entire lobby, untouchable.
Oh, stream's dead. Someone mill out.
Somebody win?
Someone milled out.
Somebody won.
Brian, did someone win? Okay.
Anyways, so in Marvel Rival,
Can we go back 1 minute, Brian? I need to know. No, just take us literally because I need to know who won. We were chatting.
No, I don't think anyone won actually.
You think it went to time?
No, the feed cut out. I think there was just a glitch on the software.
Oh, that would be the worst end to this game. They agreed to draw. They ran out of time. Okay, yeah, handshakes. I couldn't kill you. You
There's
can
8
kill me.
minutes on the timer, but I think the time for the game is up now.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. So they just couldn't kill each other. Okay. Yeah, you can go back to us. Sorry. Okay. Well, Yep. Well, we're gonna draw.
It is what it is.
Well, the most beautiful outcome is where no one wins. We leave with life lessons and friends made.
Are you running for office? That's the most political thing I've ever heard.
No, I'm just being a butt.
Well, I gotta say, both decks, they played their game plan.
They did. The game plan was to not do anything.
Yeah, they played their game plan. It worked immaculately for both of them.
No, they did
and
really fine.
I bet both players are satisfied with that performance, to be honest. Because
I think defensively, sure.
Because, well, if you look at the records, they're 102.
Yeah.
And I think 102 is if you win out, if you go 4-0-2, I think you have a good shot at making top 16. Double draw, I think, has a good chance to make top 16. But that's your last draw.
Yeah.
That's your last loss.
Yeah,
you can't lose again.
Yeah.
So, 4 wins, 2 draws, that's 14 points.
Mm-hmm.
I think that will be the bubble. I think the top 16 bubble, if it's not 14, I think it's 15 points. I don't think 13 is going to make day 3. So
You got to not play into stuff like that. Anyway, so we're going to look at the players who are in contention now.
players who did win.
Yeah, yeah, players who. Oh, not. Well, we got a lot of Godzillas up there. Not surprising anybody. A lot of these aggressive decks. Chris Miner continuing to do well with Nogura Yuki. Okay. You know what's better than 3 damage on every move?
4 damage.
4 damage on every move. Yeah. But Travis Tenjamin playing Mark Tyner.
Mark Tyner
okay,
was
up
actually
there.
winning games and not drawing.
Maybe not playing in the control mirrors. Perhaps.
I would love to see that deck. Maybe not next round.
But big
I would
for
love
me,
to see what's different.
Tim Keefe piloting Peak, a character that I thought would be really great in this format.
Interesting.
A lot of speed control to deal with the really aggressive characters, damage control to deal with the characters that are aggressive, and also damage bonus, speed bonus. It's just insane amounts of stats on this character. Chimino playing Mikasa, Ryan Field also playing Mikasa. We have I think this is the first, not Historia, but
It's not Historia. This is Crystal Lens.
Crystal Lens in 9th, and another Godzilla. So 4 Godzillas in 1 through 10. Let's go from 11th to 20th. And here we see some of the spicier things in here. Calvin Harrigal playing Doran? Is that the guy's name?
Pumat Soul. He was on round 1.
Puma. Okay, Puma. I didn't get to see that match.
Yeah, that was versus Ryan Field.
Yeah.
That was the match where he missequenced like a Breaker 6 play or something.
Yeah.
And unfortunately couldn't resolve it. But ball don't lie, and he still won that game. He survived at like 2 health and still won. And then managed to lose the next 2 games to Ryan Field anyways.
Yeah. Well, Kevin Nussi was able to bounce back, get a second win. A lot of these characters in 11th through 20th are pretty cool to me because they're characters who have trouble with Godzilla.
We have a brand new character that has never, ever, ever been in a top anything in UniVersus here.
Yeah.
Calvin Tahan, the greatest player in Toronto. Is on Nejire 2?
Yeah, we saw it on stream.
Hey, production. Wait, did you?
Yeah, we saw it on stream.
When was it? Oh, it was last
Yeah,
round?
it was
I
playing
missed
against
it.
Bridget. It was playing against the Bridget.
Dude, that's so cool. I didn't know you guys had it on stream.
Yeah, it was very neat. Unfortunately, he just got blown out by City
he's playing
Rampage.
Nejire too.
No, it was cool. It's a cool deck.
It won 2 games, so
it's
it can't
very,
be that
very
bad.
cool. But these are decks that have struggles with Godzilla, which I think is pretty cool.
Okay.
You know, because a lot of these Bridgets are probably doing that thing we saw earlier with the City Rampages into big moves. And you know what's hard to do? 35 damage in a turn. What's easy to do? 21 damage in a turn. So that's going to be a little bit tough to deal with. Midoriya's also historically have had troubles with Godzillas. And so that's where I think they need to. They're going to start playing against each other, though. The Godzillas are winning.
I'm
You're
in
past
the
that
Phil
hump.
Birch train. Just block, man. I don't get it. I don't understand why.
Midoriya's in general have to build out their hand while blocking 1 or 2 things a turn, right? And so they're relying on the right block zones into decks that are overloading one zone or playing things that can't be reduced and things like that.
My experience is the Midoriyas that lose to the Zillas pay 0 attention to the front side.
I agree.
And
I agree.
You know, you got to go backside to win traditionally, but if you build the deck to have some game plan on the front side offensively, I think you do a lot better in the matchup. So I don't know. I'm in the Phil Birch train of thought of just block, and that match should be Midoriya favored. And every Midoriya player says that Godzilla is their worst matchup of all time. So
we do see our 2 1-0, 2-0, 26th and 27th, but Dylan playing himself, okay. Kohan from yesterday continuing to play Rodan, okay. This is our UK representative. We've got Jet on Rodan as well. A couple more cousins, but Barlow.
I saw the end of Jet's round 1.
Yeah.
He milled himself out against a Hanji Zoe.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so the Hanji Zoe just kept attacking, and he kept having to remove cards to block and remove for offense, and ended up drawing his deck out and not having cards to cycle.
I love it. The last thing I'll say about the Midoriya into Godzilla specifically is that your game plan is to build a bunch of foundations. Godzilla forces you to do that twice.
Right.
So
you reset the win con.
And if you are holding your attacks for a combo turn,
you got to play front side.
I do think you got to play
offense on the front side.
I agree, but most of those decks are not built to be able to make use of the front side very well.
Correct, which is why you got to build it.
Yeah, I agree with you. However,
you know, as much as I love the 4 attack version, you know, maybe play some more.
Yeah, maybe play a few more. Maybe play a regular build. Anyway, but these are our players to watch. From here, we're going to go back and check out some of the cards again that we chose for the day. See and see if we were right. I haven't seen yours yet, actually, so I'm pretty excited to see.
Yeah.
I have. Yeah, I've seen Barrett's a couple times.
Mine are pretty good.
Have you seen mine?
I don't think so. Yeah,
well, yeah, because I haven't seen yours.
Yeah, so
oh no, sorry. Deal with it. It's Kaiju pre-release with an exclamation point in front of it. Time. Put that stuff in chat and find out where your your local pre-release is going to be.
Pre-release,
Yeah.
your store locator.
You can get one of these dope History's Greatest Monsters. The best card in this set, by the way. So good we released it twice.
Is it technically part? I guess it is part of the set.
It's part of the set, dude.
Yeah, it's got the watermark.
Yeah, it's got the right watermark.
Renewed legality. Pretty cool. So March 6th is going to be the pre-release date at all your local stores. March 13th is, of course, the release for the actual set. But if you're here at Worlds, you can get your hands on some Reign of Kaiju right now and play in a super pre-release. And to show you that we got the cards here in our hands, we're going to do a little pack opening action for you.
It's time to open a pack now. It's time to open a pack now. Time to open a pack now. And put 3 key cards behind the thingy. Power token! Okay, behold! Intergalactic Monster.
That's my favorite Beastie Boys song.
Intergalactic. Yeah. Advanced preparations. I made this art with Sam earlier.
Yeah.
Collateral destruction. If your rival is cycled, win the game. Big fan of those ones.
Yeah.
Kaiju Brawl. Yep.
My favorite GameCube game.
Engage the monster. That's what I'm going to do with Sam later. I'm going to give him a ring. Wrathful Spirit. If your character is committed, yeah. Rampant Growth. My favorite magic card.
Different game.
Plummeting Talent Strike. Need for Destruction. That's me. And
that was us in the last game.
Showdown. Reprint of two of my favorite cards.
I was about to say, it's not
Fool Me Twice
reprint, yeah.
and Overly Dramatic Deadlock Form.
It is insane to me that they made Fool Me Twice into an ultra rare. That is actually the craziest part of the
Well, I mean, interacting with opponent's discard pile, real important when they're tutoring all the
with my
time.
own discard pile. I actually like stacking the perfect hand. It's the old Garrett Brett method where you just stack 6 attacks on the bottom, and you get to the point where you're going to draw those 6 as your last.
I do like those.
Deck,
yeah. Or that you're going to check a bunch of 6s, right?
Or or you can stack. Yeah, you got to get a feel for it, you know. But,
yeah. What are you going to do this game?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Have you ever stacked all the 6s and then you draw or you stack all the attacks and then you just draw a hand above it and your last 6 cards that you're about to check are all the attacks and you're like, I guess I can't really do anything now.
I have had a situation where I was playing Kuruguru 1 and I knew the bottom 15 cards of my deck. And if I blocked the move in front of me, I would mis-sequence it.
Right, yeah.
For the following turn.
So I play one,
Yeah.
check one attack, and I have 5 attacks, and my opponent's like, well, I'm just going to attack you 5 times.
So
and you're like, I'm going to check really bad here.
I think I took 12 from a move so that I could draw the follow-up. And I won because I was like, I was him. But it was cool.
Yeah, every time I try to do the deck stacking on the bottom thing, I actually just run into the part where I'm like, well, I have to block 5 moves, and they're all attacks on top of my deck now. If my opponent just passed into me, I win the game so hard.
Well, so Sam, I think, is going to continue from here, right? I'm going to take my break, and I'll see you guys in chat. I'm going to press the exclamation point Kaiju pre-release button so that you guys can press the thing, you know, because I'm a generous gambler. Like the card.
What is gambling about?